Can students exercise their right to free speech in school to oppose an ongoing United States war? To find out, you have to read Tinker v. Des Moines Independent Community School District. But it's 23 pages. Don't have time for that? I've got you covered. This is TLDR, where I cover New York Court of Appeals cases in 5 minutes or less. But this is part of a special series I'm doing on landmark cases in the United States Supreme Court. Today we're exploring the case of Tinker v. Des Moines Independent Community School District, citation 393 U.S. 503, published on February 24, 1969. The burning question in this case: can students exercise their free speech rights in school? Now let's delve into the background law that helps us understand this case. To grasp the full significance of Tinker, we need to understand the First Amendment, which guarantees the freedom of speech. In pertinent part it reads, "Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech." This cornerstone of the U.S. Constitution is deceptively simple, yet it has far-reaching implications. It protects not just popular speech with which the majority agrees, it also protects the hated speech, the reviled speech, the unpleasant and difficult speech. It safeguards our right to express our views without government interference, a principle upon which democracy thrives. However, the freedom of speech is not absolute. It doesn't protect incitements to violence, obscenity, or defamation, for example. Also, this right can be limited in certain circumstances, such as in schools, where the educational environment must be maintained. The Supreme Court has a rich history of interpreting what the freedom of speech encompasses. Its rulings have ranged from protecting political dissent to upholding the right to express oneself through symbolic actions. These interpretations establish the backdrop against which Tinker v. Des Moines was decided. The case asked the question: can students exercise their freedom of speech in school to oppose an ongoing United States war? Armed with this knowledge, we can now examine the facts of the case. In December 1965, the war in Vietnam was raging, and in the United States the subject of the war drew deep feelings on all sides. In this context, a group of students decided to wear black armbands to school to protest the Vietnam War. Among these students were siblings Mary Beth and John Tinker, along with their friend Christopher Eckhart. They were all students at public schools in Des Moines, Iowa. Their peaceful protest was a way to express their objection to the war and mourn the lives lost. However, the school administration caught wind of their plan and swiftly made a policy that banned the wearing of armbands. Defiantly, the students wore their armbands anyway. As a result, they were suspended from school until they agreed to comply with the new policy and remove their armbands. The students, backed by their parents, decided not to back down. Instead, they took their case to the local court, arguing that their First Amendment rights to free speech had been violated by the school's policy. These events set the stage for a legal battle that would reach the Supreme Court. After the school district suspended the students, they sued for violation of their First Amendment rights. The students' journey through the legal system was not a short one. Starting at the district court, they faced defeat, their lawsuit dismissed. Undeterred, they appealed to the Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals, but met a deadlock. Their final destination was the Supreme Court, where the question of free speech in schools was put under the microscope. The Supreme Court's decision would have far-reaching implications. In a 7-2 decision, the Supreme Court held that students do not shed their constitutional rights at the school gate. The court reasoned that the First Amendment rights of students are not absolute, but they must be protected unless the conduct significantly interferes with the discipline necessary for the school to function. Delivering the majority opinion, Justice Fortas stated that the armbands represented pure speech, entirely separate from the actions or conduct of those participating in it. The school officials, he wrote, had failed to provide sufficient evidence that the armbands would substantially interfere with the school's work or impinge upon the rights of other students. On the other side of the spectrum, Justice Black, in a dissent joined by Justice Harlan, insisted that the court's role was not to set school policies. They argued that the Tinker decision gave students a license to protest at will, which could be disruptive to educational process. This ruling forever changed the landscape of student rights in America. The impact of Tinker has been profound and wide-ranging. It set a precedent that students do not lose their constitutional rights when they step onto school property. The ripples of this decision have been felt in countless cases since, shaping the landscape of students' free speech rights across the United States. It's not just about armbands or protests. It's about the daily conversations, the expression of personal beliefs, and the exploration of ideas. It's about fostering an environment where the voices of young people are heard and respected. It's about democracy in action, right within the walls of our schools. This case serves as a powerful reminder of the enduring strength of our constitutional rights, even within the walls of a school.
If you like what you just saw and want to see more just like it, please hit like or subscribe to let me know.